This week we visit the city of Brass and explore it inch by inch until we find a Shoppe Keep. 2. This and more on episode 150 of Indie Game Riot. Indie Game Riot! Everybody, I am Josh. Once again joined by Eric Hunter.
Oh, hey.
To my right. Although, if you want to be, you can be Josh for the night.
No, I never want to be you.
I know, because then who would you
I could not
be attracted to?
I could not handle the amount of poontang you slay off on a daily basis. I just couldn't. I couldn't handle it.
I mean, it's only one, but I guess that counts.
Right.
Anyway, sorry about last week. Life got in the way. Blame Eric.
That's my fault.
You know what? Actually, any problems regarding the show, just blame Eric.
Blame it on me.
Send him an email, eric@indiegameriot.com.
That's not right. It's Hunter.
All hate mail, eric@indiegameriot.com.
No, it's Hunter at indiegameriot.com.
It's Eric.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
I set up your damn email.
I receive emails. My name is nowhere on it.
Bullshit. Well, I've been forwarding you shit to eric@indiegameriot.com.
Well, stop it, because I'm not getting anything.
Are you being serious? You're fucking
Yes.
with me.
Yeah, it's totally Hunter. No, it's not. It's Eric.
Yeah, that's what I thought so. All right. Shows you that you don't even check it.
I do check it.
Anyway.
I got things I'm not allowed to talk about.
Oh.
Until the end of the month, so you're going to have to remind me, because I'm going to forget.
Sweet. Exclusive.
Sweet ebony diamond.
Yeah, eric@indiegameriot.com.
There you go. Just whatever.
How's your couple weeks been?
It's been okay. It's been, I made the mistake of diving back into clicker games.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the worst? That has to be, like, okay, what is the worst genre of game to call yourself a gamer for? And obviously, in the literal definition
like
of the word gamer, obviously, I guess, but seriously.
Pokemon?
So Farmville, you think the social, I don't even know what the fuck you call them.
Yeah, it's been so long since I played Farmville. I can't think of anything. What, you just mean casuals?
I mean, they're
mobile gamers.
Casual. I think gets sucked in to that kind of like Facebook game bullshit, because there are casual games that are fun and are good. So I feel like wrapping them into the same thing as like Farmville is just a slap in the face to people that make those kinds of games.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
But anyway, I was gonna say like there's those kinds of games. There's like the Bejeweled clones,
right?
Which, I mean, even then you can make a good one. Like,
that's a big thing.
You can make good match 3 games.
Sure.
But there's a lot of shit like just King in general as a developer is just.
Yep.
I want to give him a good old mushroom print across the face.
Yeah, they're apparently they got a new thing coming out.
Oh boy.
So I was seeing advertisements for it like on YouTube a couple days ago. I was like, oh god, you're still around? You haven't gone out of it to oblivion and then just got picked up for your name by another company yet?
Did they win that lawsuit against Banner Saga?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't ever remember.
I don't remember ever hearing about what happened. Like if they like won or if it got dismissed or something. But anyway, clicker games are up there. You said you've been like, what kind of clicker games?
So
you should be embarrassed.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for spending $2.
That's extra embarrassing.
So I enjoy clicker games just because I like watching the numbers get so big. So I was a big fan.
Love watching them get so big.
I just love watching numbers get so big. But I was a big fan of Cookie Clicker, obviously. Candy Box was another favorite of mine.
Never heard
Because,
of that one.
huh?
Never heard of that one.
So Candy Box, it's the same idea as Cookie Clicker. It's like, oh, here's a piece of candy. Here's a piece of candy. Here's a piece of candy. And then you can take those candies and get a candy bar. Or you can, well, one of my favorite features is you can take 10 candies and just throw them on the ground. And then you just lose 10 candies for no reason. Which I always thought was a funny thing. But I like those games where they do something more than just make the numbers go up. Like I like the adventure aspect of it. So like Candy Box as a game ends up being like this huge meta adventure game on top of it that you don't really realize until you've played it for like a day or
like Clicker Heroes, like that RPG-ish type of thing.
That is the opposite. So that is what that game literally, there's no RPG aspects about that game. It's literally all about the number. Okay, trust me. I've logged many hours in that piece of shit game.
What a piece of shit game. Click, 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 click.
Yeah, right. So recently, so the game that I got back into was Soda Dungeon.
Okay,
which,
I know that one.
Yeah, so Soda Dungeon, for those who don't know, is an incremental game where it is an RPG where you go to this tavern and you hire adventurers from like 12 different types. They all have different abilities. You have weapons, armor, magic spells, items. You can level up those weapons and different characters and that kind of thing as you play the game. And I got super into it. And the reason I got into it is because it's a slow game. And what I mean by that is it's not a, boom, 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 next level, boom, 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 next level. Like it's a turn-based RPG. So like you see every move being made, what could be considered in real time. And that was great until you get to the point where it's like, I'm not making any progress because it takes me a fucking hour to get through the dungeon one time because it's so damn slow. So it's like, the
pacing's weird on it.
Yeah, so that's where the $2 came from, because I was like, I need to
speed this up. Actually fucking... Oh, they sucked it out of you.
Yeah, so I was like,
I need
to
speed
ashamed. This up. I'm not ashamed.
God.
Here's why I'm not ashamed.
I've never once paid for a mobile anything.
Oh, really?
Never once.
I've bought a couple of mobile games.
There are games that I would consider buying. I just can't bring myself to do it.
Right.
In buying a game, like a good game on mobile, isn't an issue in my mind. Like seeing other people do that, I'm like, okay, well, you're just supporting a developer. They made a nice game on mobile.
Sure.
The problem is microtransactions. I hate the idea of microtransactions, and I hate the idea of spending money on microtransactions.
Right. Well, and a lot of that, in my opinion, is like there's no curating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there is so much garbage on the App Store. Like the iOS App Store is a little bit nicer just because Apple like steps in and tries to clean all that shit up, where like the Play Store and Google, it's a free for all, do whatever the fuck you want to do, which is just, that's where all the nastiness comes from.
I feel like the Google Store does a decent job of burying bullshit.
It may be a lot better than it used. I just remember back in the day, like it was really bad for a while there. Like you couldn't even find like.
I remember.
Well, you mentioned King. Like you couldn't find King games because there were Russian and Chinese developers who were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get their clicks up.
I do remember. I do remember that there was like when the first Samsung Galaxy came out. What was that, 2012?
Okay.
I got that phone, and that was the first time I had like an actual smartphone.
Yeah.
And I remember the store being completely crowded with that shit. But I think now they do a good job of keeping that shit buried. The only one that's kind of weird is there's a shit ton of Zynga game clones. Like I was trying to find,
right,
like Words with Friends or whatever the fuck that was called, to play with my wife. Sure. And there's a ton of them.
Yeah, like it's too much. There needs to be like. I always poo-pooed mobile gaming just for those exact same reasons about, microtransactions and then ads, and then there's so much bullshit. But if you want to look at, you can't deny the biggest gaming base.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you just can't.
Well, that's thanks to China.
Well, true.
Because a lot of Asian countries, we talked about it before, I think, but a lot of Asian countries like That is like their main gaming source is mobile.
Right.
Console second, PC
a distant third.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's obviously there's a lot of great games on mobile, but it gets so buried that like how do you climb out of that? You know what I mean?
Right.
So anyway, so I was really enjoying this game because there's a lot of randomness to it, and the dungeon proceeding was a lot of fun, and I love the RPG aspects because like building that team and making sure they get the right armor and the weapons and stuff, like all of that shit matters. Up until a point, I found out I had logged, I think, 48 in-game hours, and I got to the point where there's 1,000 levels, and and after every 100 levels, you fight like the dungeon boss or whatever.
Right.
So I got to level 400, and I started to progress very slowly, and so at this point I'm considering like, okay, I either need to quit playing because it's going to take me so much longer to continue to level up and get the right characters and the right armor to keep moving in the dungeon, or I'm going to have to spend money. It's like, man, I've already spent $2. Oh, and I will say, with the in-game currency, you can spend money on the in-game currency to get rid of ads.
Don't become a whale.
I don't know what that means.
That's like the industry jargon for people who spend like literally thousands of dollars on their games.
Well, yeah. But I thought it was interesting that they had an option there that you could use the in-game currency to turn off the ads. Like, I had never seen that before.
I mean, it's kind of the same concept of like buying the light version of a game as opposed to the full paid version.
True.
I think clicker games are okay. Like if they add another mechanic to it, something interesting outside of just clicking and leveling.
Right.
Because there was a game I had on my phone. I forget what it was called, but it was basically a clicker game, but it was set up in a way like where there would be waves of enemies that roll through your. I guess technically it's like an idle game, which I feel like is like the same thing.
For the most part, yeah. Every clicker game ends up becoming an idle game.
Yeah. And so there would be waves of enemies that would come through occasionally, and you'd be clicking and leveling and purchasing things through, your tapping, or I guess it would be, to place monsters in your dungeon to prevent like the knights and stuff from coming in and destroying your shit.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, interesting concepts, I think, if you add
Sure.
to it. But for the most part, you should be ashamed.
I'm not. So I got to the point where, I got to the level 500 dungeon boss, and with my team, I was strong enough to hit him for one full turn, like 500 HP. But he would heal himself every time for like 550. So it ended up being like this endless loop of me hitting him for 500 HP and then every turn him healing himself for 550. And the problem is I was limited on the amount of magic points that I could use to actually cast spells and to do that kind of thing, where he was not. So
is that like a built-in paywall almost?
No, I think it was a combination of poor programming. I think the fact that he has unlimited magic is bullshit, regardless if he's a dungeon boss or not.
Just bad balance.
And I just did not have a strong enough team. Like, I was just not good enough. Like, there would have been no way for me to not beat him because he was...
That's what happened to me in Final Fantasy X.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's killing my phone, obviously. The battery in my phone's fucking dying playing this game. So I put it on the charger. The match itself lasted 45 minutes.
God damn.
Of me taking my turn and hitting him
for that shit.
I walked away from it. Like, I couldn't. So when I came back and it's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Here you go. The game's over. Here's all your loot. Here's what you won. Here's all your points and stuff. And then when I went back into the dungeon and realized that I couldn't get to level 401, I was like, I'm done with this fucking game. Like, I'm done. Like, I can't play this anymore. I deleted it and I haven't looked back. So it's very upsetting.
Yeah, you should be ashamed.
Yeah. I'm not ashamed.
You know what you shouldn't be ashamed of, though?
I don't know. Something you're ashamed about?
Taking an indie news injection.
Oh, we're moving on, apparently. All right, good.
I mean, I can talk about my day. But
no, I don't want to.
I got fillings.
Would you
today.
got that herp? You got what?
I got fillings today.
Oh, in your teeth? Fuck that.
Yeah. Like the upper right side of my face was numb for a while, and I had to do some voiceover work with that happening. So that was
classic.
Fun.
I was gonna say, how'd that work out for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did some of those voices for Vance for his game jam.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully
Wait.
not too bad.
Who did you read for?
Les and a cop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I took your role.
No, I read for Clerk.
Clark,
I think is what it
were
was.
you Jay and Silent Bob? Well, anyway, you kind of look like Kevin Smith, like a thinner Kevin Smith in shorter hair.
So nothing like Kevin Smith, then. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's similar features. And the beard, I think the beard is what does it.
It's so.
Indie
What
News
about
Injection.
You look like a you look like a redheaded Kevin Smith. How about that? How do you feel now, asshole? Talking shit.
I'm giving
with your
myself
mouth.
Indie News Injection.
Well, you give me that Indie News Injection. I want to feel it.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News Injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
This week on Indie News Injection, the very first thing we're going to be talking about, and just quickly, briefly, because this could be a sensitive topic, depending on how you feel.
Okay.
But Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, recently came out.
Oh yeah.
Great game, Pillars of Eternity. I've gotten a press copy of it, but I have not played it yet. However, I don't feel right giving it a full feature on the show, which is why it's in news. Because it's technically, I mean, it's developed by Obsidian,
Sure.
which has developed 4 AAA games.
Okay. Are we playing this game again?
But this
What's
is the
indie,
thing.
what's not indie?
Yeah, this is what's happening. But this is a much smaller budget, it's all very low key as opposed to like Fallout.
Sure.
And I mean, in the first game, you went through a Kickstarter to get developed.
Yeah.
This is, however, published by Versus Evil, which isn't like fucking Bethesda, but still, it's a fairly large publisher, kind of. So it's one of those games that, like, it depends on how you look at it. But I figured I'd mention it because it is a good game, and depending on how you feel about it, could be.
I hope it's a good game.
It is a good. Well, the first one was. If you're a fan of like Dungeons and Dragons and watch Critical Role, that's a cool one. Little interesting tidbit is they added a free DLC where they had the voice actors from Critical Role also voice acting the game using their characters from Critical Role, the first campaign that they did.
That's cool.
So that was pretty cool too. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
Yes.
The other thing I want to mention is 2 Point Hospital. So for those of you, I thought this would be right up your alley. Did you ever play the original 2 Point Hospital?
No, of course not.
Really?
I wouldn't play something like this.
How not? This is like your micromanaging type of thing.
Yeah, it's micromanagement games are like it's like a drug to me. I can't get on it because then I'll never get off. It's like a disco stick.
Is that what you call it?
Yes, that's what I call it.
Anyway, for those of you who remember 2 Point Hospital from what year was that? I don't even remember actually. It was a while ago. They are bringing it back, rebooting it. I guess you could say, and it looks great. And they actually have. I think they recently got, or were trying to get, like a big named musician to do the soundtrack. I forget who it was though. This is what happens when we wait 2 weeks. I forget these things. Looper is the DJ. It was like a guy. This guy who was like, he does like a fake radio station. Was it on GTA? I forget what it was.
Oh,
it wasn't. It wasn't.
What?
Yeah. Anyway,
You're talking about the.
The point is that the point is that it's looking really good for those who are fans of this game. I love these kinds of games, and the whole point of the game is, if you don't know what it is it's one of those micromanaging sim kind of games where you're building up your own hospital, managing it, the employees, the sick people that come in, the equipment, the money, all that sort of stuff. And it is addicting, as Eric says.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, you can upgrade all that sort of stuff.
Drugs,
But
man.
Once again, this comes from a... what is it? The devs are from Bullfrog and Lionhead, which are two defunct studios. However, they made larger games. But the game itself is, I would say, on the indie side. But once again, you could argue that it's not, I guess. So, once again, it's in the news. And once again...
It's been injected.
We're moving on. The next thing is kind of a general thing, not so much an indie game only type of thing, but Steam is now allowing Steam Link on your phone using an app. Really?
Right now it's dumb.
Well, now you don't have to buy the dumbass hardware.
Yeah, but could you imagine what kind of pipeline you need for this not to input lag on you? Like,
I guess. I mean, I don't know. Technology is...
if they keep... Well, that's the other thing. It's like, yeah, this thing will be great in 5 years, but if Steam doesn't keep up with it, like they haven't kept up with the Steam machines, then it's like... What?
Well, it's because they never sold.
Right. Well, I mean... How much
it does say Steam Link... It does say Steam Link will require a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi network, or you have to be wired. This is stupid.
If you wire to your computer,
you have to be wired, have a wired Ethernet connection to a PC, which is I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, a little bit, unless like somebody else was using the computer while you were siphoning off of it, maybe.
I guess. But and I feel like that would fuck up with a lot of people's plans because tethering. I don't know if that counts as tethering.
Oh,
I mean, I guess technically you're not using your phone as a hotspot in that case. I guess it'd be opposite.
Yeah, it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, so whatever.
Laptop. Yeah, I don't know.
But
is that even a thing anymore? I don't know.
It is. It actually saved me a couple times when I didn't have internet, but I needed something. I actually have some tethering available on my plan. Like I'm allowed to do it up to a certain point.
Oh.
But anyway, this is something that I think would be really cool if they continue to refine it to the point where it doesn't have to be on this huge ass, like stupid. Like what's the point if you need all this extra shit? Like if you can't do it just straight off your phone. But that is a lot to channel through. So
yeah, it's gonna kill your battery too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could plug it in, and then it'll explode from overheating.
There you go.
So that's always fun.
Blame it on Steam.
But I wanted to bring this up because I mean, obviously, indie games are a huge part of Steam, and people could develop with that in mind. People could be playing it on their television once again. Except for I guess people already do that for the 3 people that bought it for the actual Steam machines. But hey,
it's a great idea.
It is.
I think Steam machines are a great idea. It's just
it didn't work out.
I mean, you got to take care of your own shit, man. Like you can't let bugs and hardware not being updated for months on end and expect your base to still be there.
A lot of people really like the controllers. I thought they were stupid looking.
I would like to mess with one. I don't think I could spend them if they're like $50 or $60 or something like that. I don't think I could
that's
spend
how much
that.
Controllers are for any console.
Right,
unless you get to like the knockoffs. But.
Like what you're getting with an Xbox or a PlayStation controller. Like you have a good idea of what it's going to feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. After that is your turn because you added these.
It's true. Do you remember Bloodstained?
No.
No, nobody else does either because it was one of the biggest Kickstarters for a video game in Kickstarter history, and they had absolutely zero product to show when the Kickstarter started. Anyway, apparently that game's supposed to be coming out this year, maybe next year. But they did they hired an indie studio to build an 8-bit looking style spin-off game called Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. That's coming out later this month.
So I'm assuming you're a fan.
I mean, I like Castlevania games. I'm a Castlevania game fan. I think it's weird that I don't know what the point of this is. I mean, the Kickstarter was what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Nostalgia, baby.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like, just make it.
That's the point of everything in the 2010s decade.
The 2010s? Is that what we're calling?
I don't know. I actually don't know what to call this thing. Sorry, I said my mouth.
I don't know. It's 2018. So I actually had to look at the date to make sure it actually was 2018.
We're almost in the 20s, baby. The roaring 20s.
Yeah. No, I just thought that was such a weird, out of left field thing. But I mean, I'm gonna buy it because that's my jam right there.
But I mean, I'm gonna buy it. You're the same person that bought what's that Mega Man game that was shit?
Oh, Mighty Number 9, dude!
Yeah.
I kickstarted that bad boy at the $60 tier.
I knew it.
At the $60 tier, I don't think I ever got I was supposed to get a box, like a physical box.
Did you file a police report for getting robbed?
Oh, no, I didn't. But I haven't kickstarted a game since then, because I'm still waiting on
Mighty Number 9. That's an interesting conversation for another day. Is how shit releases and products from Kickstarter end up hurting Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. I like that. That's a good topic for another time.
But it doesn't hurt the gaming industry because that's what it's built on nowadays.
Basically,
no, just release it. We'll fix it later. We promise. Give us your money. Give us your money. Give us your money. Give us your money.
I wish Rev was around because he had a good counter argument to that. Because we talked about that a long time ago. Yeah, it was basically like would you rather? Because back in the day, like it was that long ago, but back in the day, you got your game and you got what you got. If it was buggy, you're fucked.
Right.
Because at least they can fix it now, even if they do release it. Would you rather it this way or have a game that's just fucked?
I still wasn't pre-ordering games though.
Well, no one was because that wasn't a thing. Not
sure
really.
Was.
I don't remember. Well, I don't remember.
Madden was the first game you could pre-order, I think, because it was the first series that you knew was coming out next year. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah. So yes, of course, like if you go back and you play, especially like a ton of those licensed games from back in the day, like Predator and Terminator and Beetlejuice, like those games were like just outright trash, but. Maybe it was different to me because you could rent the game. You weren't spending $60. You were spending
I never
$5.
rented games.
Huh?
I never rented games.
Oh, really? Man, that's all... Well, my uncle owned a video store. So
because, that helps too. But because I always thought it was a waste of money because I'm like, it's not like I'm going to finish it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to finish this game.
True. But I mean, in this instance, you can't just rent the game. You have to rely on reviews and influencers, and unfortunately 9 times out of 10 all of that's a crock of shit to begin with, so you don't know who to trust anymore. So it's like, do you just go all in and spend the $60 and pray that you get it's good, and if it's not then they fix it down the road, or do you not buy it off? That's
an interesting service idea that I feel like someone might have done already, but like if there was a service where you could purchase a game for like
a couple hours
for just a little bit, just to try it out.
You know who did that? Ouya.
Did they?
Yeah, that was part of their business model. You had to have a kind of like a vertical slice free demo version of the game to download for somebody to play for free.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, it's at least for consumers, it's kind of a pain in the ass for devs.
Yeah, but I mean, if your game is good and it's not buggy as hell and you're not promising to fix issues 6, 12, 18 months down the road, then that's money that sticks that, that person now tells another person if the game's good and they go out and buy it. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm all for shareware to come back. Like I feel like that we need a vertical slice business model again, where like this is the first level of the game, or this is the prologue to give you an idea of what the games look like. I mean, it's only a 20-minute game level.
I've had devs tell me, because it's like, oh, it's such a drain on resources, and I'm like, yeah, I understand that, because these are people that like wanted advice for Kickstarters, and I'm like, I understand that, but man, people are investing in your game essentially,
right?
And
you have to go that extra mile.
You can't just be like, here's some pictures, because people
Here's
have
a
been
video.
burned. People have been burned on that. You need to have some sort of complete segment so people get an understanding of what's the finished product going to be, similar to. But anyway.
Like, and the game I always point to is Rogue Legacy. You've played Rogue Legacy, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
So that first part of the game where you play like the great grandfather that started this whole mess.
Right.
Like, how easy would it have been to just release that section of the game and say, hey, this is free to play, to try it out and see if you like the game. Not only are you getting sucked into the story, but you're getting a complete idea of how the game's going to play, how the mechanics roll out, like how it's going to feel, like that.
Yeah. And I think it does
start
work
that from the ground up. You don't do it afterwards.
And demos don't work for every genre, though. That's the other thing.
True.
So
yeah, like an RPG would be tough, but if you're not doing anything, then you're losing.
Or like
that's the
adventure
thing.
games.
Like that's the whole issue. Is like if you're just going with the rest of the sheep, then you're not doing anything. We've tried nothing and everything's failed. Like, yeah, no shit. Like, do something different. Like, take a chance. Like, step out of your bounds. Like, build it from the ground up. Don't try to force it afterwards. It never works that way.
Once again, that's another topic that we could probably talk hours on. Is just
rip somebody's asshole. What?
Let's start. We're Indie Game Riot consulting services. We're going to be doing that next.
There you go.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
We'll be cheap too.
Yeah,
real cheap.
Like just send us some Hot Pockets.
Yeah, that'll work.
I can't.
I
Have
won't
Hot
eat
Pockets.
them.
Yeah,
I'll collect them.
I can't have. You just collect Hot Pockets around your house.
I'll buy a whole new freezer just to put Hot Pockets in.
A Hot Pocket freezer. I feel like that's an oxymoron.
No, I don't think so.
Hot Pocket freezer.
We're good. Hey,
you know what
Superhot?
we're not good with? Yeah,
we're not. We're gonna talk about Superhot.
Yeah, there's the segue that we missed. Go ahead.
Oh, let's hear it.
No, well, I mean, Hot Pocket, Superhot. There was a connection there somewhere.
God, you're terrible at these segues. I need to get you a book about how to write a segue.
I don't see you coming up with anything.
So the new Superhot game has been announced, and it's going to be Japan inspired.
Japan inspired.
So
Japanese culture, you mean?
Well, yeah. So the reason I picked this is just because things like this to me are interesting. Because anytime like a developer comes out and they have this huge knockout hit, you always wonder what they're going to do next, right?
Mm-hmm.
For like Jonathan Blow, like he came out with Braid, and then he turned around 6 years later, or whatever it was, after the game had been released, and did
The Witness.
Yeah, The Witness, which was like, just another mind-bending, beautiful creation that he did.
Braid was better.
Do what? Was Braid better?
Braid was better, yeah.
That's a tough one.
The Witness was very repetitive to me.
Yes, but it's so unique. Like, I'm okay with that kind
Is
of
it?
repetitiveness. I think so.
I mean, it's just puzzles. That's all it is.
Yeah, yes. Okay. And Braid
there's
is just
nothing-
another flat platformer. If you want to play
Well,
that.
no, because it wasn't just another flat
Sure
platformer.
it was. It had
was a-
zero new game mechanics in it.
Okay, what other game mechanic had puzzle platforming with time bending?
Oh God, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, Blinks the Time Cat. I mean, there's other games out there that have done everything he's
All right.
done.
Listen here. Fuck you.
No, I'm just saying, like, there's,
You're right.
there's
You're right.
There's not really any such thing as a new idea. Portal was not a new idea. It was a creation of a different game that has.
I think we said that before. It was Aristotle that said there's nothing new under the sun.
There is nothing. Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, no, I just whatever. You're just so quick to poo-poo everything. I thought I was the asshole on the show.
We're Game
Man.
Grumps, aren't we? We should
I
go
don't
by
know. I
that.
could-
We should go by that. We'll grow our audience. We'll just use the Game Grumps brand.
Oh, okay. Well, you're gonna have to refresh me in my memory what Game Grumps is, because it's been a long time.
Jesus,
That's-
you were out
Hey,
of the social.
That's all right, man. I do other things in my life. Anyway,
I'm
so
an
they're
adult.
basically making a Superhot game that's gonna take place in Japan.
Okay,
I just find that hilarious.
so it's gonna be super hot, but with like samurai swords, which is
Probably.
actually already in super hot, but I
Right.
digress.
Yeah, and it's already been done in other
mean,
games like Real Steel. For the
I feel like if that's the case, you can just do a Binding of Isaac thing and just add extensions.
So wouldn't that just turn into like a dungeon light or a rogue light kind of game where like it's just constantly changing and there's
Well, I mean,
or
not
you
even
could turn it into like a Hitman.
I mean, not even that. I'm just saying the simple concept of just adding the paid for DLC like Binding of Isaac. You know what I mean? Because all you're doing is changing the skin with new levels. Like it's like what
True.
It's still Superhot, right? So
That's what they're
why
saying.
not just
so,
tack it on to Superhot and have people pay like $10 or something, depending on how big it is.
Yeah. So they're saying it's 15 to 18 regular levels, 3 to 4 endless levels, and will be priced, quote, very reasonably.
What was that?
Yeah, I don't know. I just found that interesting because it's like
I feel like I'm being sold something at a bazaar in the Middle East.
Right.
Very reasonably priced. I can't do it.
So I'm just curious to how that board meeting went. Where it was like, guys, what do you want to do next? Like, Superhot was such a big deal, and like we could pretty much do whatever you want. Like, let's make a skin version of Superhot. What do you think? Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
Instead of red guys,
let's make them blue.
They'll be red with samurai swords.
There you go.
And we'll call it Japan.
I thought that was interesting. So, there you go. I look forward to it. That's what I'll say. I look forward to playing it.
I'm just shitting on it. Superhot's a fantastic game.
Oh, it's amazing.
Hot.
Gosh.
Super
mind
hot.
blowing.
Hey, you know what's super hot? Starting a riot. This week on Starting the Riot, we're talking about City of Brass by Uppercut Games. City of Brass is made by, or Uppercut Games is made up of developers from Bioshock. I had a brain fart. Senior developers, so they know what they're doing, whatever that means.
Oh, they're just old. That's all that means.
You can see some Bioshock.
Yeah, you can.
Bioshock-esqueness to this.
Yep.
But basically, you are running through what is basically Agrabah with a sword and whip. And I think there's combat in this game, obviously, but I think the main idea of this game is to really go fast. Got to go fast. Even though they're not really doing it in this game, but from that's the feeling I get. I have not played this because I didn't. They didn't send me a fucking press review.
Oh,
what dicks! Just kidding. But from what I've seen, you're supposed to go fast because there's traps, there's the enemies, and you're just kind of like dodging through it and using the environment to help you progress. So there's like you can pull people or you can pull items like on top of enemies, I believe, or you can like pull enemies into like pits. I like the whole aesthetic of it too. The whole like Agrabah type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a setting that you see too often anymore that I can think of. There's seriously, there's like a what's the word I'm trying to think of?
I don't know.
There's a whimsicalness.
Like eclectic?
There's a whimsy to this setting that I enjoy.
Sure.
So, do you like playing these action games? Because all I hear about is like I like to micromanage. Every other game sucked from you.
That's not true.
Yeah,
no, I like these games. I don't. The problem with me in these games is continued play. So like if there's nothing like continuing, like kind of pushing me through the play. So like BioShock Infinite is a good, is one of those games that like the things around it were so compelling that it kept drawing me in.
Mm.
But like there's certain things about this game that I do like the whip specifically. They really use it as like that defensive measure. So I don't know if you've seen any bits of the gameplay footage that were like, but if you whip the person, the skeleton or whatever, in the head,
yeah,
like they'll be stunned and like kind of like fall back and like hold its head. Like little things like that are intriguing to me to like get me started.
Strategic,
but like yeah,
strategy involved. Yeah,
I like that idea of like the
is keeping score enough incentive for you?
No.
because that's part of this game. Is there's a score, there's like chests and upgrades and things like that increase your score. And I'm not sure if this is considered a roguelike or roguelite, but there's basically you're trying to.
I hate those words.
There's an exit to the level,
right?
But so that you're trying to get through
playing.
to. Yeah, and there's like I'm pretty sure there's a timer. Yeah, there's a timer involved. You can see the hourglass there. So like I said, there's you have to get through these things with speed. That's what I was talking about before. So this guy, I feel like whoever's playing this, I forget the guy's name, but the link will be in the description if you want to watch it. But he's taking this kind of slow. Like this seems like something that you're trying to sprint through, and you're just kind of like whip slash, and just kind of like reacting as quickly as possible.
So you want to play it like Mirror's Edge style?
Kinda. That's
like
what
you better.
Yeah.
Like you constantly need to be running. Oh shit, that was cool.
Kinda. I think. I don't think it's as fast-paced as that, but I feel like the faster you go, the better it goes for you. And I think that's part of the fun that they've built into it, is that you're trying to like feel badass with, just by flying through a level and getting
you
way
feel
through.
godly.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So there's I think it seems like a light story to me, but there is a story to it where you're basically you're imprisoned, and then of course you find a genie, because this is Agrabah-ish, and that's the thing that you have to.
It's a city of mystery.
Yeah, you have to have genies, of course, and then that genie is like, I think, the system for your upgrades that you get throughout the game.
That's very BioShock-esque.
I guess because of those. It's kind of like those vending machines from BioShock. Yep. Yeah, you're right. And of course, there's like I mentioned the traps and using an environment, and you can pick up things like pots and toss them, and they explode, set your enemies on fire, that sort of thing. Let's see. Oh, you can change the difficulty of the game to however you want it to be. They call them blessings and burdens. So you can have like things that give you an advantage when you're playing the game, or you can things that give you disadvantage, so that way you can add more challenge for yourself. Especially, this game's probably perfect for speedrunners.
Yeah.
Who do it legitimately. Every other speedrunner, I think, is bullshit, in my opinion.
All right.
I like how you can use the whip too to travel through the level. So there's like these little, I think you just saw it in the gameplay, there's these little rings that you can like whip onto and swing across traps and stuff like that.
That screen looks great.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else I missed. This, again, with the like roguelike thing of it, I'm pretty sure that the levels might be different every single time you play.
Oh, so they're procedurally generated.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm pretty sure that's the case from what I'm seeing here. Any other little bits of tidbit that you'd like to mention?
No, this game looks killer. Like, it's like you were saying, the aesthetic's really nice. It looks very smooth.
I think the one thing I don't like is, and I guess it's just me. I've never really enjoyed games that are contained like this. Like, it seems like the levels are very...
Oh, they're linear.
I don't know if it's linear. It just seems very small, the levels, to me.
Oh.
But I guess that's the nature of...
Yeah,
if
it goes back to the speed thing,
yeah. But that's just me. This was released on the 4th. It's on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4. Did you do your job and look at the price?
$19.99.
There's my boy. $19.99.
I did stuff.
Attaboy, Blue. City of Brass by Uppercut Games.
Very cool.
You know what we're going to give an uppercut to?
My face.
When it dives right into the peep show.
Oh, okay.
We're bad.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
This week on Peep Show, we're talking about a game that we've talked about before, but haven't, because this is the second one in what could be a franchise. Probably not. Probably not. But I did enjoy the first one. That game is Shoppe Keep 2. We did talk about Shoppe Keep the first. It was probably a couple of years ago, at least. And it's a good game. It's one of those kind of sim managing games, but instead of building up a hospital or whatever the fuck we were talking about earlier,
right.
I have the wrong overlay on. Hold on. There it is. And it's by Strange Fire. Anyway, the first one you had to manage your own fantasy store. So you were selling potions, weapons, armor, things like that, the standard fantasy wear, and you ran your own shop, setting prices, keeping things clean, making sure people don't steal shit from you, and just expanding as much as you can and making profits. This one has that, plus a little bit of graphical upgrades, because the other one was very hexagonal and low detail. This has a little bit more detail. This is also a little bit more open world. You can travel. You could travel around the town in the first one and find some items occasionally, but this one you can actually travel around the town, talk to people. It feels a little bit more lively, because the other one was basically like one main road with a couple of alleyways that you can go through. There's multiple buildings that you can go in and people to talk to. There's quests. You can actually use some of your items to go out and fight things and find more like cool items to sell. In the first one, there was something similar, but you didn't do it yourself. You basically hired an adventurer, send them out, they do whatever, and then they come back and it would just kind of give you a message of what the result was, and then give you like unique items and stuff when they came back, depending on how difficult it was.
Oh, okay.
But this one, you do it yourself. You can also, there's more expanded gardening, because in the first one you could kind of set up a garden, and the back was like a little square plot. This one they like have a whole thing outside. You can chop wood. They added just a ton of stuff. There's fishing, for instance. Baking. You can hire someone to do that.
So can I ask a dumb question?
Sure.
Because I've never played the first one.
Sure.
Why wouldn't you just add those into the game that you already have?
That was the argument I made earlier with Superhot.
That's true.
But I think
like a DLC thing.
I think the major thing here is, first of all, there's the graphical upgrades.
Sure.
Second of all, they fully expanded the town. it is a new game altogether. It's
so
not
they
like
probably built it from the ground up.
Yeah, it's not additional content. Like, it's not like here's some new mechanics. Like, this is an entirely new town, a new game. Like, there's just a lot more. It's probably easier just to build it from the ground up instead of changing everything around. And UI is massively upgraded as well, I would say. The other one was very simplistic. It was simplistic, but it wasn't friendly, I guess. Now, at the time, this is early access, as it is in Peep Show. There are a lot of reviews saying that it's buggy and stuff like that. Again, early access.
What you
have to expect it.
Yeah.
They're going to iron out the kinks.
Expect it to be perfect.
Well, people are like complaining, like, "Oh, I like the first one better," and why do they have to add all this shit? I'm like, "Well, just play the first one, man." Like,
yeah, if the servers are still up, who gives a shit?
Yeah. Well, the first one's no. It's not.
Oh,
like
is it not online?
No. It's all just you. But anyway, Shoppe Keep 2, just
Electric Boogaloo.
It seems super cool.
You like these games?
I do like these games.
Yeah.
Although the problem is, this kind of has the Stardew Valley kind of thing where you have a time crunch, especially in the first game, because your shop would close at a specific time automatically.
Right.
And if you didn't get shit done, then it wasn't. You'd lose out on profits. This one, you can actually open and close your shop as needed, and you can sell in the middle of the night. People will come to your store in the middle of the night if you're open, which is pretty cool, I think. But then you have to make the choice of like, well, I need to close because I have shit to do. I need to go out and do stuff, or I've run out of products and whatever. Because the first one was very contained in your own store for the most part, whereas this is much more spread out. Like, even picking up your the products that you order. The first one, it would just kind of pop up in your back room and you go back and get it and put it out. This one, you order it and it actually shows up in a completely different building. It's not that far away, but still, it's, you know, you're leaving your shop unattended. I'm pretty sure like stealing is still involved in this. I think there's some balancing things that need to be taken care of. Like when customers are upset, like if something's too high, they'll like kick your fucking display stands, and they have like a durability on. And there's like a durability on your shit.
Sure.
And it's like it really like your stuff degrades super fast from what I've seen. I think that should get changed. Maybe they will. Again, early access. Who knows what they have in plan as far as that goes. But another thing that's cool. I don't think I mentioned it yet, but there's like an economy in this. The first one, you're making profit, but this, if you're selling too much of one thing, then it becomes saturated, and therefore the price drops. People won't buy it as much because everyone has it already. They don't really need it or want it, so you have to diversify. Whereas the first one, you could just spam like the same thing over and over, basically. People had needs or wants when they came in the first one. But it didn't affect the economy of the game all that much. There's also a bank in this one, so you can bank your money if you need to. Save it like for taxes, because there's taxes involved you have to pay. Of course, who doesn't want that in their game?
Taxes, the video game.
Yeah, do your taxes. IRS RPG.
There you
go. But anyway, I think it's a really cool upgrade. I think people should calm their tits when it comes to the reviews and wait for it to advance through.
Well, I popped over on the first one, and its recent reviews are very negative, and they're all claiming that the devs have abandoned the first game and moved on to the sequel, and the game's incomplete and unfinished already.
Is what?
That's what they're saying.
There wasn't the first one. It's not like there was an end game.
Do you want me to read some reviews?
I mean, you're welcome to, but it's not like there was an end game to the first one. Like it was just make as much profit as you can.
Yeah. So devs have abandoned this game without finishing it, moved on to its sequel.
I think
the game is abandoned.
I think people. How many hours do they have in it?
4 hours in this one. This one's 17. The game is abandoned and incomplete at this point. After 2 hours, you see everything, and after that point, it is just a grind fest without any real enjoyment, where 90% is done by robots, and you just press purchase and repair gazillion
I just realized I didn't have the
tables and
gameplay
clean
this entire time.
No, you didn't.
Shit.
Here's my favorite
There you
one.
go.
Are you ready for this one?
Yep.
This is from user Dragon. 7.4 hours. His review, somehow not inspired for playing this game. I love it.
How eloquent.
I'm gonna follow this guy. Or girl.
I told you Steam reviews, that's how you should just treat your how you purchase games from now on.
Holy shit, this guy owns 1,400 games on Steam. That's ridiculous.
I'm getting close to 1,000.
I want to vomit. Alright, good.
Okay. But even if you would call the first game abandoned, which I think is stupid, since you can't abandon a game that doesn't have an end. Like, it's just you play it as much as you want and that's it.
Yeah.
Even if you would consider it abandoned, they abandoned it to basically remake a game that's better, in my opinion, with like more stuff to do. It's not like they abandoned the game and then went on to create a whole different game.
True.
It's the same game with more stuff.
Yeah.
Essentially.
It's like anything else, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah. Anyway.
There you go.
As always, Steam reviews are just...
gold.
Yes. Golden. Yep. There you go for that, 3 minutes of gameplay, because I forgot to put it up there. But, you know how to find it yourself. And, of course, the link to this particular video will be in the description. I think it's Paul Source Jr. that is doing this video. And, anyway, you know what else is golden?
Free fun.
Free fun. This week on Free Fun, we have a game. It's just kind of cool mechanic. It's called Inch by Inch by Dare Looks. That's at least how it goes on itch.io, which is where you can find it, or itch.io. Do you say itchy or itch.io?
I say itch, yeah.
Okay, thank you. The whole point of
You're
this
welcome.
game is that you are a scientist and you are trying to find a formula to stop yourself from shrinking. However, as you're trying to find the formula to stop yourself from shrinking, you are in fact shrinking. So as you're moving around, you're going to get smaller and smaller, and then you have to find ways to move things that are now larger than you or climb up on the counters to reach things. And it's a pretty cool little game. Have you played?
This is I haven't. I downloaded this. I look forward to playing it.
Okay.
But to me, this is a very like the floor is lava game that you play when you're a kid.
Sure.
Well, just I don't know. It's like you take it to that nth degree where it's like I don't know. Didn't you ever? Don't you have a sense of imagination at all? When you
Oh
were a
yeah,
kid?
I did.
No?
And
Oh.
then I was slowly crushed as I grew.
Good. No, so like I want to say that when I was a kid, not this specifically about the shrinking thing, but just like suddenly you couldn't move your arm or one of your legs doesn't work anymore, so you're trying to do whatever.
Well, I remember like you
menial
play
task.
You play whatever game, like whatever versus whatever, and then you get shot, and you're like, "Oh, my arm's gone."
Yeah, like that's what this reminds me of. Like
Okay,
stuff like this.
like you're slowly becoming more and more encumbered, and you're like, "Ah, shit," and it
Yeah.
becomes more challenging. Okay, I see. what
it
you're
just
saying.
feels like a game that you made up when you were a kid, when you were bored.
Oh,
That's what it
I
reminds
see what
me
you're
of.
saying. Okay,
Yeah. Like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, here's a very boring thing that we have to do. Here's how we make it fun. Like the floor is lava. Like, oh, we got to put our clothes away, but we can't touch the floor because it's lava. Stuff like that.
Yeah. So this case, like, oh, I got to save my life, but that's kind of boring. So let's make myself
Shrink as you do it. Exactly.
Yeah.
See? You're welcome.
Saving your life is fun.
Yeah, I think so.
When you use your imagination.
Imagination. But no, I look forward to playing this. This looks very cool.
Yeah, without spoiling anything, like, I mean, obviously you're also, at the same time, while you're shrinking, and, oh, there it goes, shrinking, little by little, you're also trying to figure out the formula.
Right.
Which is, you have a little whiteboard to follow along.
To not shrink yourself.
That too. So, really cool, interesting little compact game with a cool idea. You know what else is a cool idea?
Oh, by the way, I did my job. I looked up the price on this.
Please tell us.
So it's free.
Wow.
So
you are a stud.
They do have it set up. That's one of the reasons why I like itch.io so much. Is it's like, hey, this game's free, but
support your devs.
If you want to swing $2 to the dev, go for it. Like
Yes.
I enjoy stuff like that.
Did you swing $2 to the dev?
Yes.
Look at you, all altruistic. That was an SAT word, altruistic.
I took the ACT, so
What a little bitch.
that's what they had in my area. I had to take the ACT. You couldn't take the SAT.
What?
Why'd you call me a little bitch? Yeah.
I don't know, because you're a little ACT bitch. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Getting all kind of new nicknames.
Oh, I can come up with a whole list. Hey, you know what?
What?
It's the end of the show.
Hey.
If you enjoyed
made it.
this show and you want to help us in a financial kind of way, you can. Whizfish got modded. I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you enjoy this show and you want to help us in a financial sort of way, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Indie Game Riot. It's always appreciated. Or, of course, you can do what the Whizfish and also Eric actually supports the show in that way himself by providing your free Twitch Prime subscription to us on a monthly basis. You do have to re-up that every month. I have no idea why they don't allow automatic renewal of that, but whatever.
It's Twitch.
Or you can just pay straight out of your pocket if you're that generous. That's cool too. Whatever, it's up to you. Appreciate it. And of course, that goes all into the show to help it, like things like website and hosting. Depending on how much we get, we have plans.
Fly me out somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
Send me to E3.
Well, that's a while from now. First thing would be like stuff to give back to the fans, but whatever.
Who are they? I don't know them.
What fans?
What fans? Except for that fan that's blowing on your leg right now.
It's on my face, thank you.
Sure it is.
So other ways that you can help us is going to Twitter with things like, or not. Let me start that over. Other ways you can help us is finding things like news regarding indie games, or finding new indie games, or people to interview, things like that. And
Sure.
Send it to us on Twitter at IGR Podcast or Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. Or if you're an old person, you can use email. Is that the old thing now? People don't use snail mail anymore. All those people are dead, right?
I mean, I still mail bills and stuff.
How old are you?
32.
You're ancient.
You'd be surprised when a house payment comes up missing and your bank's calling you wanting to know where the payment went. If you can track that check.
Well, I mean, that's what a
Easy
bank
as that.
statement's for.
Yeah, but you don't get a bank statement when you pay it online.
I mean, you get a receipt.
Oh, do you? Where does it go?
Your email.
A digital
usually.
receipt?
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, I don't trust that. I
Wow.
don't trust that technology.
I don't trust the internet.
I don't trust the net. So you can email us, contact@indiegameriot.com. Anything else you want to say before we leave?
Stay indie.
You got to come up with a new catchphrase.
Why? That's like the best catchphrase.
Play indie
Go
games.
start your own Riot.
Go start your own Riot. Don't use ours.
Make sure you use the shells to wipe.
Come up with a new tagline for Eric, and maybe we'll send you a free game. How about that?
There you go. Indie Game Riot, the old bitch.
The old bitch.
There you go.
We have been around for 5 years now.
It's a long time.
Yeah, we didn't celebrate it this year, but May 5th was actually our birthday.
Oh.
5 years we've been around. 150 episodes today. We didn't really make a big deal about that either. I figured I'd wait until like at least 200.
Well, I just, 150 more. It'll be fine.
Oh, that'd be 300. Learn your math.
No, we're going backwards. It'll be episode 1.
What?
So, like, next week episode will be number 149. And we'll start going backwards.
Oh, until like the Benjamin Button of podcasts.
There you go.
Okay. Say your goodbye.
Goodbye.
Toodles!